So Ghana Parliament is to begin the use of the local language on the floor of the House to promote the Ghanaian culture and prevent it from becoming extinct. Order 63 of the new standing order states that a member of parliament may use any of the local language subject to interpretation and translation to the understanding of all. This is expected to take off during the second meeting of the fourth session of the 8th Parliament. Let's watch this video as a member of parliament explain why it is important to take such decisions. I will be back.
So, Mr. Speaker, it's not only with our good compatriots in Zimaland, even here in the capital. So, a number of languages are on the verge of extinction. And it is a matter that requires urgent national attention. The President, the executive arm, the Minister of Education, the Minister for Culture, Mr. Speaker, it is a matter that we must escalate to the highest of levels. Language is so important. That is what represents our heritage, our culture, our traditions. If the language goes extinct, the people are gone. Their culture is gone. Their identity is gone. So, Mr. Speaker, it's a very, very, very crucial matter. Those of us in the Volta region, we have discussed at our caucus meetings how it has become difficult in recent times to even get adequate supply of teachers who have been trained in the Ewe language to teach in our basic schools. They become very, very scarce. So across the board, I'm sure if we are to conduct a study in the Upper West on the Wale language, I'm sure it will be the same matter. So I am glad that the maker of the statement raises the issue of resourcing the Languages Bureau, making sure that our colleges of education have a deliberate stream of students who are being trained in our indigenous languages so that they can sustain the interest in these languages. But Mr. Speaker, beyond officialdom, what the state must do, we must also play our part. Because of intermarriages and how strong the English language has become as our official language.
So that was one of the minister who has been a major role trumpeting for the Ghanaian parliament to start using the local language, and his name is Mr. Okujato Ablakwa. That was him talking right now. And this particular subject, I addressed it somewhere last year. I did a content that it's about time Africa, we prioritized on our language. We don't need to look down on our language and our culture, because if we look down on our culture and our language, somewhere along the line, it's going to dawn on us to become inferior to ourselves. That is the fact. We are going to be inferior to ourselves, because if you are in your country and you speak your own language in school and they decide to punish you because you are speaking your own mother tongue language, what do you feel, or how do you feel the kid whom you have punished because he has speak his mother tongue language, how is he going to feel? He's going to look inferior, or he's going to think his mother tongue is inferior to the English. I did that content and I had a lot of support from other at the comment section, and some also came and started asking me, then why don't I use my mother tongue language or my local language to do the content and I found it a little bit, how should I put it, shallow question. Yeah, no one is fighting against the English language. No one is saying we shouldn't speak English. But what we are saying is the English language and our local language can be taught at the same time without making one look inferior to the other. It can all exist in the school curriculum. We can learn Twi and we can learn English at the same time. The English will help you when you travel outside the country to trade or to go and work outside. The English language is going to help you to be able to communicate with people. And your local language is also going to help you most to understand things properly. That is the reality. When you are taught in your local language, you understand situation properly. So when people came at me suggesting that, why don't I use my local language to do content or to make content, and I'm using English, I told most of them, for communication reason, using English is very important. For communication reason, using English is very important because my target is not really about only Ghana. My target is, I have targeted America, I have targeted Kenya, and currently as I'm speaking, this channel, most of my viewers are Americans. Most of my viewers are Americans. So it was important to communicate, to use English for communication. But for us to think English is superior to our language, so we have to look down on our language. That is where the problem is. And that is what I'm talking about. If you can understand this logic, have you ever asked yourself why, when the missionaries came to Africa, they decided to translate the Bible? They decided to translate the Bible into all the local language. They did it because they wanted everyone to understand the concept of the Bible. They all wanted to penetrate every culture. They wanted to penetrate everywhere. That is why they translate the Bible to our local language for people to read and understand. But ask yourself, why didn't they also campaign or also advocate for us to convert or how to translate all our educational exercise books, educational textbooks? Why didn't they help us to translate it to our local language? Have you ever asked yourself that question? And I know you know why. Where I come from, I mean Ghana, where I come from, when you are in school and you speak local language, they have branded called vernacular. And if you speak local language, you are going to be punished. So, as you are growing up, you have been indoctrinated to believe that your local language is somehow inferior. Few years ago, even when you dressed in African print or when you dressed in African fabric, some people will find a way of mocking you because they think you are not civilized. It is recently when people has become proud of being African because majority have accepted that they cannot change their color to any other, or they cannot change their culture. So what they have to do is just believe in themselves and appreciate their culture. So now a lot of people have started appreciating their culture, and you can see how after African appreciating their culture, have you seen how we are making waves across the world? Let's talk of Nigerian music. Let's talk of how Ghana is using year of return or beyond the return, bringing African Americans home to experience Ghana culture. And majority have started moving to Africa. Majority of diasporans are now moving to Africa. I have seen a couple of videos of people learning Ghana local language. In Ghana, we have been surrounded by French-speaking countries. So majority of Ghanaians can't even cross border to trade with their other brothers on other side. Let's say Ivorians. Majority of Ghanaians can't trade with Ivorians because at the end of the day, they can't understand their language because they speak French and we speak English. But imagining if Africa should have had one language like Swahili to be our national language for all the African countries, for us to speak the same Swahili, and imagine the impact that should have been made if you travel to another African country. You can communicate, you can practice trade, you can trade with other African countries without any hustling. So it's about time we have to be proud of our language. There is one thing that even bores me is recently you visit any African homes and their kids will greet you with English language and they will be communicating with their mothers in English language, and you realize that the parents are very proud. So they sometimes make comments like, hey, this my son or this my daughter there, he only communicates with me in English. You can see from their face how proud they are. That can't develop the continent. That is why we are still struggling. That is why we are always complaining about Africa. In Africa, we equate intelligence with English language. When somebody speaks English, he's very intelligent. When you speak your local dialect, you are uncivilized. That is how a lot of Africans see English language. So the moves that Ghana Parliament is taking is very important. The moves that many African countries are taking now is very important. I have said it and I've said it, I'll say it again, that whatever we are saying it here, few decades to come, people will watch our videos and will realize how we contribute our quota to this continent. Because at the end of the day, whatever we have been saying for ages are coming to pass. Now Africans are issuing visa-free for their other brothers, other African countries. Now many countries are switching to their local language. Many countries are yearning for local products. Many countries are yearning for intercontinental trade. A lot of things are happening now. And all these things has been said on many Pan-African channels. And that is what we want. We want Africa to unite so that we can be strong economically, culturally, in everything. Please, you can go to my description box and click on the Telegram link you see in that box. You will join us on Telegram so that we can discuss about the well-being of Africa. Please, you should also subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button, as we are going to give you a very good content and a content that will help build this continent. I'm always your guy, De-Graft Amoako. Thanks for watching.